Good morning and happy Tuesday. Happy September the 3rd. So we are almost to the end of this year. Crazy, crazy, crazy to me. I can't quite figure out where the time has gone. It's been a whirlwind of a year for me. It's been fantastic. I've enjoyed almost every moment of it. And one of the things I've really enjoyed the most is coming to you live every day when I can and just sharing information to help you through your days so that you can live the life that you love, right? That's my mission. That's my goal, is to help you, is to help as many people as I can start living a life that they love and loving the life that they're living. Good morning. My name is Leslie Godet and I'm an empowerment coach. I help my clients learn to spot the triggers so that they can manage their emotions and get back to what's really important, which is pursuing their dreams and aspirations and turning their visions for their lives into their realities. And so I wanted to come to you and talk to you about mental clutter and how it can affect you emotionally and how it can also affect you physically. So did you know that clutter, whether mental or physical, can affect you emotionally, which in turn can affect you physically? And there are things that you can do to take charge, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. So how does clutter affect you emotionally, you ask? How can clutter affect you physically? What is clutter anyways? There's so many different meanings of clutter, or so many different types of clutter. Well, there's the physical clutter, which you know. It could be a messy office space. It could be a messy room, too many things crowding a room, to the point that you know the old saying, it's impossible for me to find my keys in all this clutter. Or how about mental clutter? So you keep taking in information, because we're living in a world where there's so much information out there. Thank you to the internet for that. And you keep filing it away for later, or so you think. And at some point you feel like you are about to explode, or your mind is so fogged up to the point that you can't even think. And that's how I felt once, the foggy part. So, being in law, I had been in law for like many years, and I loved what I did, but it came to a point where, you start taking on more responsibilities, more information, life in general. There's so many different types of information that you're dealing with. And so work information, life information, maybe things that I want to do, that type of information, it was all coming up here, fogging my brain, to the point that a few years ago, we're talking 11 years ago, I decided I wanted something different, that there had to be more to life than just what I was doing. I didn't feel satisfied anymore. And so I knew then that I wanted something different. I wanted a way out of what I was doing to doing something that I loved, that I truly enjoyed. But at that point, I had so much going on. My information overload kept me from even being able to think. I felt totally helpless. Really, I did. I felt helpless. And so another 10 years went by. And so here I am, 10 years later, I'm thinking, wow, okay, I'm still where I was. I'm still unhappy. I don't want to keep doing this. There's got to be something better. There's got to be something out there for me to do. So what did I do? I just decided I'm going to go out and start looking for things. I finally woke up enough. I gave myself that permission to go looking for information, to maybe do something different than what I have been doing all my life. And so I went down this road to self-discovery for almost a year and realized, first of all, what I'm doing is I'm building skills that can help me with my own mental and physical clutter, to help me live my life the way I want to live it, and to love the life I'm living. So that helped me. And so how does physical and mental clutter affect you emotionally and physically? Well, number one, it increases stress. For example, do you ever feel like you have so much stuff? We're just going to talk about physical stuff, and you don't know what to do with all that stuff? Like you have I'll give you an example, a dining room table that you never use for its intended purpose, because it has become the dumping ground for everything from mail to clothes to books to keys, you name it. If it can fit, it will go there. I know, I've been there. I've done that. Physical clutter can raise your cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. And that's not a good thing, because some symptoms of high cortisol levels are high blood pressure, a flushed face, weak muscles, increased thirst, which then leads to more urination. So you might be urinating more often, even waking up in the evening when you're trying to sleep. So that is another whole animal. It's interrupting your sleep. Changes in your mood, you become irritable, short-tempered, impatient, and rapid weight gain in the face and abdomen. That place where we always look at our gut, that's from high levels of cortisol. A lot of the time, it's from stress. Number 2, it can wreak havoc on your diet. So it can be overwhelming to the point where you start to make poor choices in food that fuels your body, right? How you fuel your body. So you're reaching for the unhealthy choices. The food, as we like to call comfort food. It makes us feel better in the moment. You become an emotional eater, and I can attest to that because I used to be an emotional eater, and so began many years of yo-yo dieting for me. Can you relate? I mean, yo-yo dieting was not fun. Up and down, up and down. Lose 5 pounds, gain 10 pounds, lose 10 pounds, gain 5 pounds. I mean, it was on and on and on. Number 3, it can trigger respiratory issues. Now, I don't deal with this, but I know there's a lot of people that I know in my life that have this. I read an article that according to Alliance for Healthy Homes, cluttered homes often contain more dust, which can cause or amplify breathing problems. So imagine all that stuff that you have that you don't even really need, and you probably even forgotten about. Do you have boxes in your closet? Like, think about it. Do you have boxes in your closet or your garage? Things that you haven't even looked at, or you had the intention of going through one day, and that one day has now, maybe you're saying someday, and that someday has never appeared, it's never manifested itself. Yeah, so think about what all that clutter is doing for you, for your home, for your breathing. Number 4, it can isolate you from others. How does that happen? Imagine having so much stuff in your house that maybe you feel embarrassed to invite people over, or for fear of being judged or criticized for all the stuff that you have. Number 5, it can put a strain on your relationships with your children and even your significant other. I also read that children living in a severely cluttered environment are less happy, have greater trouble making friends, and are more likely to feel embarrassed about the condition of their home. So guess what? They're not going to invite anyone over for a play date. They're not going to ask you, hey, mom, dad, can I have a sleepover? They're embarrassed. And that's straining the relationship that they have with themselves, how they feel about themselves, and the relationship they have with you. It can also strain your relationship with your significant other. Maybe even cause arguments due to the fact that you're both feeling the pressure of so much stuff, it's affecting your marriage, and you're not building that into a healthy relationship because you can't focus on that. You're focusing on the clutter, what it's doing to you, how it makes you feel. I'll go another step further, your office space. I read that 28% of employers often overlook someone for a promotion if they have a messy desk. I'd imagine that they're thinking that if their employee has a messy workspace, that it gives the impression to them that that person doesn't really even care about their job or even respect where they're working. And that may not even be the case, but that's how it looks, right? So what does this do? Well, think about it. If you're hoping to promote up or level up and you keep getting overlooked, it could be due to clutter. Just a thought, I worked in an office space where there was one employee specifically, and he had a full top of his desk. He had like a countertop that was stacked high. His desk space was stacked high, and underneath his desk was stacked high of stuff. So if you asked him where anything was, maybe he had a system, because sometimes people who are messy like that seem to claim that they have a system. Good for them. But it doesn't help the rest of us who work with you. And if you're away on vacation or sick and we're looking for something, how are we going to know where to find it in all of that clutter? So it's just something to think about when you think about your workspace and how it makes you feel. Even if you have a cluttered desk, how does it even make you feel? It might even make you feel stressed and overwhelmed and heart palpitations, that type of thing. Go one step further, you become less motivated to even try and conquer your to-do list because you're more focused, unfortunately, on your physical clutter. Number 7, it encourages bad spending habits and can keep you in debt. Emotional shopping, like your emotional spending, for example, you'll find that you'll oftentimes do this even when you cannot afford to, or it's even not even in your budget right now, and you'll do it in order to just feel better in the moment. Now, I can relate to this. This is also something that I used to do. I used to go shopping every lunch hour, and I ended up buying things that I didn't even really need or even really like, because once I got it home, I was like looking at it thinking, am I even going to wear that? But here's the real sad part of that whole situation too, is a lot of the time I was too lazy to take it back. So it was money that I spent on something to sit on my shelf or on my hanger. For what? For 4 minutes, 5 minutes of gratification, and then it was done. Can you relate to that? I'm sure there's some of you out there that can relate to this. So you're not focused on being organized, so you can't always find your bills. That could be another thing. And maybe you miss payments. You get charged penalties, and maybe even have your credit score affected. Imagine that, forgetting to pay your bills on time. And if you keep doing that, and all of a sudden you start getting these dings on your credit report, and now your credit score goes phew. So yeah, I know I'm painting a pretty bleak picture. The thing is, the situation can get very bleak at times, and then our physical and our emotional clutter allows us to be triggered in such a way that our emotions take over and manage how we react and respond. And we find ourselves doing and saying things that we don't mean to do. So now that I've got your attention, what can you do to take charge of your physical and mental clutter? Well, let's start with clearing out your physical clutter first, okay? Take stock of your possessions, the stuff that you have, and ask yourself, do you find yourself just buying for the sake of buying and you really don't need it? Do you ever go out and you're like, have you ever thought about just trying this exercise? I like something. I try it on, like if you're going for clothes, I try it on, but I'm not really loving it. Or maybe I think I love it, but I'm not 100% sure. Have you ever thought about just sleeping on it? Because that's what I think is the best thing to do, is actually sleep on it. I'll go even like a further step. Someone I know here in Vegas was talking recently on her podcast about how she doesn't have any spending, no swiping of the debit card Monday through Friday. So if she goes to a store on a Wednesday and she sees something that she likes, she tables it. And the only time she will swipe that card is on a Saturday. So if Saturday comes and she's forgotten about it, guess what? She didn't really want it. She didn't really need it. But if Saturday comes, she's still thinking about it, that's when she'll go and purchase it. So that's something to think about as well. You know, again, another example would be, I know that sometimes we'll see a top, or maybe even, you know, those tanks, summer tanks. Do you really need it in every color? I mean, really, do you? Or how about those shoes that you really loved, and you bought the black pair, but now you think, oh, I need them in nude too. Do you? Do you really? You know, really think about these things. Why accumulate all this stuff? Is it really necessary to have all that stuff? Do you need everything, or were they just want purchases, or were they just making me feel good in the moment because I was going through some stressful situation? So how do you take stock of your possessions and clear out your stuff? Clean out your closet, go through it. How about this? I'll give you a challenge. If you want to find out what you really want to keep, what you really gravitate to, what you really wear, you know, turn all your hangers backwards, and when you wear something, turn the hanger around. Now, this isn't my idea. This is another tip that I found recently that worked for me. Try this for 30 days. 30 days at a time, to see what areas of your closet you really ignore and are gravitating towards more. Maybe it's time to donate your gently used clothing to someone who needs it and who will use it. Another key thing is, if you haven't worn something in a year, chances are you won't miss it if it's gone, right? You didn't miss it when you didn't wear it all year, so why would you miss it when it's gone? Downsize your purse or your wallet. By carrying a smaller purse, it trains you to carry only what you really need, you truly need for the day. When you carry only what you need to feel and look good, you'll begin to mirror that energetically. Like if you carry a huge bag, it's weighing you down. You don't need to carry your planner, your charger, all of these things around. Now, sure, if you go to work and you have a carry bag, a bag that you carry your things in, and that can stay at the desk, you have your smaller purse that you go out to lunch with, you travel around with. You don't need to carry everything with you. It's not necessary, and it just weighs you down. How about this? Clearing out things from past relationships. We tend to hold on to things. It could be over, but you're holding on to mementos like pictures, pieces of clothing, those types of things. I want you to ask yourself, why is this stuff still here? Why am I holding on to something that no longer bears any value to me? Then it's time to donate it or recycle, recycle, recycle. You don't need to hold on to past relationships, especially if it was toxic. And why are you holding on to something in the past anyway? Especially if you're in a new relationship, how would you feel? The shoe is turned, right? Or is that how the saying goes? I'm not sure. But imagine what it would feel like if you went to your significant other and found that they were holding on to pictures of past girlfriends or past boyfriends. How would you feel, right? Okay, so let's now tackle clearing mental clutter. Develop healthy habits that will help you navigate your day more efficiently and effectively. Meditation, for one, has helped me tremendously. I start my day with this. Well, actually, I start my day with exercise. And then the next thing is meditation. Why? Because I want to get my headspace in the right frame of mind. It helps me get centered and feel more focused. Now, I'm also going to be trying meditating at night to get me into the right mindset for a restful night's sleep. Now, I've been sleeping okay, but I'm going to see how that works, and I'll report back to you. Which leads me to my next favorite thing, which is journaling in your gratitude journal. I love to journal. Why? Because it makes you feel grateful for the things that you have. Like, journal at the beginning of the day of all the things that you're grateful for, no matter how small, and be grateful for what you already have. Be grateful for what you already have. Even if it's, I have a bed to sleep in. I have a beautiful place that I live. I live in a nice community. I have a good job. I have a job that pays me. I work full time. I have a husband that loves me. I have children that love me. I have great friends. Everything you should be grateful for. And then celebrate your wins at the end of the day. Write them down in your journal. It could be, I've said this before, you work outside the home. Going home tonight, you could hit all the green lights and get home in record time. That's a win. And when you get home, your dog is greeting you at the door with a huge grin on his face and his tail is wagging like crazy. That's another win, making you feel good, right? That's a win. So think about that. Develop healthy habits. Exercise, get moving, get your heart pumping. You'll feel better for it. Some great benefits of exercising is for your heart health. You can minimize your risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, even diabetes just by getting in a half hour at the gym and keeping your heart and blood flow happy. Weight loss, for example, getting in a half an hour each day prevents excessive weight gain or even help you maintain a healthy weight. It reduces stress. It can boost your mood, boost your energy levels, improve your memory, increase productivity. All of this from exercising. Like, wow, that's a great list. Number 2, create a manageable to-do list. Now, this is really important because it has to be realistic. Only put on it what you realistically can complete. You don't want to put things on, like, we all have great big goals. Yeah, we all want things. But if you're not at that space, that place in your life right now, that goal, that to-do is going to matter right now, it doesn't belong on your to-do list. It belongs on your to-do later list, okay? So don't overwhelm yourself with too much. That way, when you complete something, you can celebrate it as a win, and it puts you in a grateful state of mind, because mindset is really important. And then for every negative thought that enters your mind, replace it with 2 positive thoughts. Now, this is going to be a challenge because I know it's hard when you're in it. It really is. I know. I've struggled at times, but it really does make a difference. For example, replace I'm not worthy with I am worthy and deserving. I deserve to live the life I love and love the life I live. okay? Or replace I always make mistakes with sometimes I do things really well and sometimes I don't. But I'm willing to put in the work and do the best that I can every time. Flip the switch. Go from negative to positive. Get yourself in the right mindset. So how does all